Step 1. Thread your needle with the running stitch thread, leaving one strand longer than the other. Tie a knot in the longer end. This will secure the start of your line of stitching. Step 2. Taking fabric piece A, place the smaller fabric patch behind the hole, making sure the hole is centered, and pin into position. Step 3. Your first line of stitching will go across the center of the circle. Start at least 1 centimeter away from the hole on the underside of the fabric, so that the knot will be hidden, and bring your needle through the 2 layers of fabric. From this point, sew a line of running stitches across the center of the circle. The stitch length and the gap between the stitches should be roughly 0.75 centimeters. Continue until you are at least 1 centimeter past the hole, ending with the needle on the underside of the fabric. Step 4. At a point roughly 0.5 centimeters away from the previous line of stitching, and in line with the first gap in the previous line, bring the needle back through to the top side of the fabrics and start a new line of stitching going the opposite direction, parallel to the first line, and keeping your stitches in line with the gaps of the previous line to create a staggered effect. Step 5. Continue this line of stitching across the hole and at least 1 centimeter past it. Repeat until 1/2 of the hole is covered with lines of stitching, extending at least 1 centimeter past the hole. Step 6. Repeat for the second half of the circle, starting with a fresh thread on your needle, roughly 0.5 centimeters from the center line. Step 7. Pin patched fabric piece A to fabric piece B, matching up the raw edges. Thread your needle with the blanket stitch thread, again tying a knot on the longer end. Step 8. To hide the knot, the first stitch of the blanket stitch starts in between the two layers, roughly 0.75 centimeters in from the edge. Step 9. From this point, in between the two layers, bring your needle through the front layer of fabric. Now bring your needle around to the back and through the back layer of fabric in line with the first point. Bring your needle up in between the two layers to the right side of the stitch you have just made. Step 10. Working in an anti-clockwise direction, bring your needle to the front of the fabric. At a point roughly 0.75 centimeters to the left of your starting stitch, bring your needle through both layers of fabric. Step 11. Before pulling your thread all the way through the fabric, bring your needle up through the loop from the back and now pull all the way through so that your thread is caught by this stitch and lies across the edge of the fabric. Step 12. Continue all the way around your coaster, remembering to do the securing stitch when there is roughly 10 centimeters thread left on your needle. The securing stitch can be done in between the two layers of fabric on the smaller patch so that it is not visible. Step 13. When starting with a new thread, secure it by tying a knot in the longer end and stitching through the smaller patch between the two layers. Now bring your needle to the right of your last blanket stitch, catching the thread in that last stitch and continue as before. Step 14. To finish, bring your needle past your first stitch and down in between the two layers of fabric and out through the back layer, roughly 3 centimeters from the edge. This will close the gap on the edge and will be held in place by the natural friction of the wool. Snip the extra thread with scissors.